Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, depending on which part of Africa you are in. It's afternoon here by us. I'm just going to share my screen. If you can just give me an indication, Andrea, when you can see it, and Edmund on your side, if you can see it in your part of the world.
Yes, I can see it on my side. Thank you, Carla.
Okay,
Yes, I
Edmund.
can see it on my side. I hope I speak for the entire Ghana.
No worries. Thank you, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about streamlining your business through secure digital signatures. And what I plan on covering today is just in general how businesses have changed due to the way the world is moving at the moment, what the trends are, the differences between electronic and digital signatures, their cover their legality, also talk about which Adobe Sign solution is right for you, and then how easy it is to use and what it can do for you. So moving forward, I'm just going to do this. Um, Businesses have changed in the sense that you know people are looking at digital first, so they are trying to make things easier in the way that they do things. They want things to be available on their mobile device. They want to be able to store the stuff digitally. So that is how customers worldwide are tending to look at their businesses. Then also there is this need. Yes, during COVID, a lot of companies were working remotely, but as things have changed over the last 2 years or so, they're looking at trying to get people back into the offices. So there is this need for hybrid. So many companies out there work at both remotely and on premise, and how do we make sure that businesses still continue to work smoothly through their various processes and systems that they need to use, right? And then the other part of it, which is quite important, is everything is experience driven. And yes, from one standpoint, being able to be an experience, customer experience, how does customers engage with us, but also on a different level. How do our employees and what processes have we got in place that make the job and the need a better experience for them? Right? Is it easy to be able to sign a leave form or to be able to get documents signed internally? So that is what we mean by experience driven. Then, if we move a little bit forward, there are certain stepping stones that businesses are taking in order to move forward and visualize their businesses in the future, right? And one of the most important ones is business continuity. All right. So, people are, since COVID, before, during, and now post COVID, people are looking for a like for like replacement for their physical signatures that are out there. But sometimes what we need to consider is a like for like is not ideal. Sometimes we need to improve those processes by going digital, because sometimes it is a simpler way to do it. Sometimes we can remove a number of manual steps in the process. So while we are looking for this like for like, there is also that opportunity to change the process going forward, to improve it, to modernize it in that sense. All right. While business is moving forward, there's always a resistance to change, but that has been outweighed by the need to be able to do things electronically, right? Also, it is when people start adopting technology, there is less likely that they will reverse back to the way things worked before COVID. Right. Then you've got digital resilience, right? And one of the things here is to look at whatever your use case is for your digital signature requirement. right? Don't look at your entire organization. Look at your most pressing use case and work from there. Because what we find is as we start working in this process, we'll find that other parts of the business will either need to change as well. So instead of trying to fix all the holes at one time, work on one and then move to the others, because what you often happens is we find new ways of doing things, processes are being reimagined, and instead of doing this for the entire company and making an upheaval, we do it slowly as we move away. All right, and then also ensuring that support is critical as we move forward and make these digital changes. And then during the digital transformation itself, all right. The signature is the key role in being able to transmute or transform your business. Yes, we have a lot of paper processes, and that are in place. But as soon as it's that request to be able to get a signature, how do we do that digitally? And once we can find a way to do that, other digital processes are usually easier to work with. Right. And reinventing products and processes to support this new workflow is often what people are seeing. And also, we are finding that it is a CEO or top level initiative because they have the biggest strategy of where the business needs to go and how to be able to do that. Right. And then future enterprises, we find those that adopted earlier on and figure on their specific use cases usually find the long-term benefit in that. And all of this information that I have provided to you was from an IDC study. So, Andrea, I'm going to ask you to put our first poll up. And the first poll is to the audience. Do you know the difference between a digital signature versus an electronic signature? So we'll give you a couple of seconds just to complete that survey. And while we're doing that, Andrea, I'm going to just move on to the next slide and just talk about signatures as a whole, and then you can give me the answer. Right. So not just electronic signatures. If we're looking at any kind of signature, even if it is a wet signature on a piece of paper, there are three most important facts. All right. So whether it's an ink signature or an electronic signature or a digital signature makes no difference. There are three things we need to know: the name or the mark of the person and must be associated with the document, right? The signature must be applied by the person themselves, right? And they must show an intention to sign. So this is quite important because as I speak a little bit later, I'm going to relay back to this particular slide. Andrea, are our polls in yet? Our results in?
Yes, Carla. So 39% of attendees, actually it's changing again. 35% of attendees, they know what the difference is.
Okay. So that's 65% of you that don't. No problem. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly show a brief 2-minute video. Let's do this. Sorry, I did have it all ready for us.
You've heard of electronic and digital signatures, but what's the difference? While both types help with signature convenience and speed, electronic signatures are fast, simple, and accepted for almost all types of agreements. You click, you sign, and you're done. Your signed document is now available on all of your devices. Digital signatures are about increased signer identity authentication and signature encryption, required in highly regulated industries and regions. They're encrypted, verifiable, and support the broadest range of legal requirements. So for electronic signatures, think fast and simple. For digital signatures, think about meeting the highest level of security and compliance. With Adobe Sign, gather electronic and digital signatures from any device, anywhere, with no paper, no pen, and no slowing down.
Okay, so I'm just going to go into a little bit more detail now on the differences between the two. I just want to put my audio back to my headset just to make it a little bit easier. Right. So something that needs to be understood is that there are different levels of both digital and electronic signatures, right? So the more secure you need and the more authentication you need, the more secure that digital signature or electronic signature is. So at the bottom of the level, if we look at signatures, you get a really basic one, right? Where this signer is identified by a really basic authentication method. All right. Then, as we move a little bit stronger, we get what we call a verified signature. And this is where this is often given by a third party vendor where they have certain steps in place to identify either via your identity document or your birth certificate or whatever it is, that you are who you say you are, right? That is a verified signature. And then at the end, you get what we call a digital signature, and this is through a trusted service provider, and they actually provide you with a digital certificate. Now, if we look at this, if we look at the signer authentic or identification methods, if we look at the basic ones, if we look at an electronic signature using Adobe Sign, you could just authenticate a user by their email address. And this is usually the default method. But then we can step into two-factor authentication, where would be their email address plus either a one-time PIN sent via an email or via their phone, or a password, or the fact that they need to log into the solution, right? So that is basic authentication. Then when we look at verified, this could be through a government identity or a knowledge base where they actually ask you questions, or an enterprise identity via logging in through Azure or any other type of enterprise identity. And then the final one is this digital certificate, where you actually purchase the certificate. They have verified who you are, they give you the token, and you, using a cryptographic key, that portion of the certificate is then attached to the document. So think of a digital signature like an aeroplane ticket, or a transportation ticket, where you have two parts of that. You have a public and a private part, and you would give the public part would be attached to the document, like in an aeroplane ticket. You would give the public part to the air hostess as you or ground crew as you board your flight, and the private part stays with you, right? And this is how they can authenticate the two of those two when dealing with a digital certificate. Now, the very first slide I showed you, I said there were three main reasons that you needed to authenticate somebody with a wet signature. And global e-signature laws, I'm talking general here, I'm not talking Ghana specific, but generally worldwide, you need to prove who signed the document. And this is done through signer authentication. How did we authenticate that particular user? Right? Second step is the person needs to demonstrate intent and consent to sign. And this is provided through an audit trail or an audit report. So you can see who signed, when they signed, what was the IP address of the person, did they change it to somebody else by replacing a signer, etc., etc. And the third method is to prove that the document was signed. And in the demonstration, I will show you that there is a tamper-proof seal on the Adobe document and the audit report once it has gone through the signing process to show that it hasn't been tampered with. So if we look at either the e-signature route or the the digital signature route, we are authenticating who the user is beforehand. They are signing, therefore showing intent and consent to sign. And the proof of signing is either through a certified document and an audit trail, if it's an electronic signature. And if it's a digital signature, you've got the digitally signed document with the cryptographic key and an audit trail. So you are covering all three of those main requirements. Right. So, Andrea, I'm going to ask you to please just put up the next poll, please. So, for those that are attending, I'd like you to think about your particular business, all right, and think about which departments or areas of your business would benefit the most from going an e-signature route, right? So, for example, one of the top motor vehicle manufacturers in the world, they used to take up to 6 months in order to get sign off from all their plants worldwide before they could put the new model in production. All right. Whereas when they moved across to a digital signature or an electronic signature workflow, that took them down to less than 6 weeks, right? From 6 months to 6 weeks. So I'd like you to think about the same within your business. So, Andrea, do you have some results yet? What I will do, actually, let's hold off. I'm going to just talk about some of the use cases and then we will get some of the results of your poll back. Right. So as you can see, we've got different areas within our business. I know the slide deck is a little bit of an eyesore, but we will be sharing the slide deck with you afterwards. You can see that within sales, there are different types of use case. It could be contracts, it could be vendor application forms, it could be proposals or quotes, working remotely, again, contracts, policy acknowledgements, authenticated signatures because people need to sign things off. In marketing, it may be this release forms that need to be able to do, or asset and content approval. Right? In the legal department, it may be contracts, non-disclosure agreements, policies. If we look at, for example, finance, not just budget approvals, but maybe invoice approvals, right? HR, are you having new staff onboarding and we need to get them to sign multiple documents? Are they leave forms? In IT, vendor agreements, support, change requests. Can you see, and these are just to name just a few various departments. Right, so Andrea, if you can just give me the results of the polls, please.
Sure, Carla. So in HR, 27%, sales, 18%, IT, 18%, procurement, 32%, and other 5%.
Okay, so I can see from those of you that are attending this particular webinar that most of you are going to be using it in the procurement environment. So I will make sure that my demo is related to that. Okay, so Adobe offers the document cloud, all right, and it has a number of tools that are available. So we have Adobe Sign, which is the purple one, and we have Adobe Acrobat. Right. Please note that there are the signing options available in these two products differ. So imagine yourself walking into to buy a new car, and you're standing in the showroom there. There are a range of cars. So you've got the lower end of the range, you've got the middle end of the range, and then you have the luxurious model. So depending on your requirements for e-signatures would determine which of these models you would need. So things to consider would be things like, do I need to integrate with my Microsoft products or any other back-end products? Do I need single sign-on? Do I need more than 10 people to sign a document? Do I need to store my documents in a location where I can put a retention policy in place? Or can I have the users store the documents in their login? So these are things you need to keep in the back of your mind when you are deciding which of these signature solutions you require. So today I'm going to be talking about the Adobe Acrobat Sign solution, which is purely for signature and approvals. It is not the editing of the PDFs and all of that. That is a different discussion for a different day, and we can always reach out to Denise from Multithread if you would like a session relating to that. But today we're going to talk about Adobe Acrobat Sign. It is a cloud-based service. It is the solution from when you send a document for signature, you will include everybody that needs to engage with that particular document from the start to the end. And then you can determine, there are different types of who is a signer, who is an approver, who is a certified recipient of that particular document, and the fact that it is platform agnostic for the person that is signing. All right, so they can use it in the web, on their phone, inside of a Microsoft application. Now, the IDC did a survey, and they have Adobe in one of the leading Adobe electronic signature platforms. And this is based on not just Adobe's vision of where they want to take the product, but the experience and the vision that the customers have been able to implement using this particular product, right? It relates down to customer success using the various APIs, like integrating with SharePoint and Microsoft Teams and Power Automate, or any other back-end system that you might need, right? So it's very big along those sides of things. So for those of you that were talking about HR, look at what your HR system is. If it supports a REST API, it's almost 99% of the chance that Adobe can integrate with that. Right, so some of the very top features that I might not be able to show through the demo. It supports both electronic and digital signatures. You get an audit report. You have the ability to create templates. These templates could be document level templates or form fields. So for our procurement people, when you need to have invoices signed off, you don't necessarily want to drag on all the form fields, why, the cost center, the date, the signature. So you can go and create a template related just to this, and you can then put that on the documents that you need to be able to sign. So you saving you time. You can have also workflows. These workflows can be through a Power Automate or through Adobe Sign themselves. Right, the ability to send in bulk. So for the HR people, whenever you have a change in company policies and you need all your staff to be able to sign off that they have read that, you can do bulk send. You can even do web forms for application forms, leave forms, depending on what your use case. That is an ideal solution when you don't know who needs to fill out and sign that document. You can host it on your intranet or on your web site. Right, you can track anywhere where a document is at any particular point in time. And of course, there is self-branding. So a question I get asked all the time is relating to security. So the Adobe solution complies with not only these governance and compliance requirements, specifically ISO 27001, and if you need to engage with customers that are in Europe, not only these. So I have shared a link with you where you can go and find out some more information about this. But most importantly, you need to remember that the content that goes out for signature, think about me handing it over to a courier company like DHL or FedEx or whatever, and that goes out for signature. Yes, they might just put it in a sealed envelope. Here, the same thing will apply. Your documents are encrypted in motion. That means while they are out for signature, and at rest. That means when you receive those documents back. I also get asked a lot about personal information and how the system relates to that. And there's different personal information acts in different countries. So you need to understand that you as the customer need to comply with your Personal Information Act. Adobe is just the data processor. They are just the courier company that hands that document for signature, and then when it comes back, it is held by you. All right. And the system does allow for privacy administrators. And this is the difference between Acrobat Professional, the desktop version, and the actual signing solution. You can go up at any time and allocate who is going to be your privacy administrator in your system that can go and remove personal information from the documents if they need to. Right. The other option that or question that we also get asked is, oh, where are the documents stored? So by default, yes, they are stored in the Adobe Cloud, but you can have through Power Automate or through SharePoint, you can have those documents sent to your own repository. Right, you can also do it via email if you don't have one of those. Have all the documents sent to an alternative email address. Then you can put in place a retention policy, right? And this retention policy, you can determine how much time that document is stored in the Adobe Cloud before it gets purged. Please remember that you need to take into consideration if there are weekends, if one of your employees are on leave. So when you set up your retention policies, please just keep those in mind. I have also shared a link in the presentation if you want to know some more information about that. Now, I did mention to you that there are, standing in that motor vehicle showroom floor, there are different models, right? So the ones that I have shown here in the presentation is the business version and the enterprise version. So please note the two main differences here are, do I need to integrate with another system? So if I just need Word, Word, PowerPoint, and Outlook, the business solution would work for you. If you need to integrate with Microsoft Teams or SharePoint or any other REST API, you are definitely going to need the enterprise version. You do not pay per integration. All right. So if I need to integrate into one system or if I need to integrate into 10, they are all included. And if I need to use Power Automate or the Adobe Sign workflow designer, so for example, I need to send out a document, it's for procurement, it's got this particular amount, it needs to go. I'm just going to use Denise and Edmund as an example. It needs to go to Denise first for signature, then it needs to go to Edmund for approval. All of the requests can already be set up for you to save you time. All right, so there are a lot of elements. If I need account delegation or anything along those lines, please look at the correct version that you need, and if you are unsure, reach out to Multithread. They will be able to advise you correctly based on your needs. So if we quickly look, because I would like to get to the demonstration here about the integration with Microsoft products. So you can see here, it's not just Microsoft, it's Workday, it's SAP, there's Dynamics, there's Oracle, there's Google. There are a number of integrations. The ones that are listed here may have already got the connectors built, right? If you have your own bespoke system at in your organization, you know it uses REST, but it's not listed on the list here. Adobe does have a very mature API that you can use and get your developers team to be able to build those connectors for you. Right. So just looking on the Microsoft side, by the way, I have put a link to all the integration guides that have got connectors and the API itself, so you can find those there. But just if we look from a Microsoft stack, we can integrate with Power Automate into OneDrive, SharePoint, Dynamics, Microsoft Teams. We can even do live signing in Microsoft Teams. So if you have that requirement in your organization where you need to be able to physically see the person signing the document together with Microsoft Teams, that can be achieved. If this is something that you need, please reach out to Multithread. We can set up a call for you to do that. Right, so as you can see here in the Microsoft Teams environment, I do have the live signing option available to me over there. So let's get into the demonstration now. All right. So Adobe Sign is a browser-based platform. If you need to use it from your mobile device, there is a mobile app for it. If I need to use it within Microsoft Teams, I can have the Microsoft Teams app connected, and I can see, which documents are in progress, which documents are waiting for me to sign. I can even go directly from here and request a signature, right? You will see that the interface in here, if I say request signatures, is going to be almost identical to the solution itself. So if there's the one in Teams, if I come in here and I say request e-signatures, you can see it looks the same, right? There is also the option to do it from within a Microsoft. So whether it's Outlook, whether it's Word, whether it's PowerPoint, whether it's the desktop version or the 365 version, this will integrate and you will be able to send your documents. It's an add-on, so you can just click it on, and you will see that to get started, it's really simple. You just authenticate your Microsoft username and password, and then your Adobe Sign username and password, and then you're good to go. You can see that the document is attached, so I don't have to convert the document to a PDF first. I can at any point in time go and add additional documents that I need. So for example, I need an Excel document. Because there's no integration directly with Excel, I could always do it from Word, add it, and then just remove the Word document if I needed to, right? So you can see there is integration. For those of you that need to automate some processes, you can pre-tag a document. So that's why I have this document open, because I'm going to use it in my demo to show you that it's not mandatory, but you can have tags in templates, work documents that you need, that as you upload them, those tags will convert to the relevant input fields, whether it be a signature, a date, a username, or whatever it is, to allow you to be able to save time. And there is public information available on this for you. Right, so I'm just going to I just also want to show you, if you do have pre-set up workflows, whether they are from Power Automate or from within the Adobe Sign environment, you can access templates, whether they for per user or per department or organization. You have workflows in here. All right, so here is an example of an invoice approval. You will see the difference in here is that I already have the people's details available, which was different in here where I would still have to add the people. So you can see there are ways to improve and automate your options that are available to you. Right. I can send a document. So remember, I am the initiator. I am requesting a signature from somebody else. I'm the one that needs to have the license. All right. If I am sending it to 25 of you on the call that need to sign a document, you don't need to have a license, only myself. Right. I can have a sign in order or in any order, and I can also support a hybrid of a combination of both. So let's just put this in here. I can choose different roles. So please remember, depending on the version of the product that you choose to purchase, would determine on which of the roles that you have got. I've got the enterprise version, so I've got all of them available to me. The difference between a signer and an approver is a signer needs a physical signature on the document, an approver doesn't. So think about HR. I'm putting an offer letter together for the employees. Me in HR, I need to approve that the information is correct, but my signature may not appear on the final offer letter. That would be the manager and the candidate. So there are those options. And the delegator function can be used in a case where you need to have a witness or you don't know who the person is at this particular point in time. But let's say, for example, Edmund does. So I can then delegate it onto Edmund, and Edmund can then send it off to the correct person for signature. There are the two-factor authentication methods. Remember, email is first. We've got password. We've got one-time PIN via phone. We've got email codes that can be sent via email instead of the phone. You've got the ability to sign into Adobe Sign. And you, as the administrator or your organization, can choose which of these are relative or not. Right. We've got recipient groups. So for example, I could go and say this would be multi-thread. And then I could put, let's say, Edmund's email address in here. I know I'm just spelling it wrong, but multi-thread. Right. And then I could put the next person in. This could be, let's say, Denise. And then only one of these two people need to sign, because in the end, I only need 2 signatures. Right. So there are lots of different options. So look at your workflows, look at what it is that you need. Right. I'm going to attach my document. I'm just going to, I could use one from my templates, but I'm just going to show you that document I had open in Microsoft Word. Because in the end, we want it to be less work. So here you can see those signatures have appeared directly on the fields that I require. I can change them. So if I don't want a normal digital electronic signature, I can change that out for a digital signature if I need to. I've got other fields like information fields, username, person's name, company title, date. That's all relating to the person that is signed. I've also got other fields. Do they need a checkbox? Do they need to put a signature? Do they need to sign with a stamp? Do I need to ask them to have an attachment? So let's think about it. We're in procurement. We've got our invoice. We want them to attach the quotation that they needed to be able to go with that invoice. We can do this. Right. And then here are the field templates if I needed to have those instead of a document template. Right. I'm going to send out this document for signature now. Right? Please note at any time you can be notified if a document hasn't been viewed, and you can set these up to your own settings that you want to have. Right? I can manage this document. Remember, one of the things I said is that you can see this document at any particular point in time. So here in progress is the one that I've just done now. And I can see here, I can set reminders if I need to. I can add or amend the expiration date as long as the expiration date has not lapsed, right? I can come in here and see if a person has signed. If they haven't signed, maybe they're on leave. Maybe I need to get somebody else to sign. I can either replace the signer. That means that the original person will no longer be able to sign, or I can make a recipient group. That means either the original person or the new person I have allocated can sign the document, and I can see the activity at any particular point in time. Right, here is telling me who is holding up the signature flow, who hasn't signed. So whoever's name is listed here is the person that needs to sign the document next. Right. So while this has happened, the email has come in, and this email can be received on a mobile device or on their phone, laptop. It can be branded. You can have your own headers and footers. You can see it's indicating here that I have an attachment that needs to be signed. It is recommended that we delegate it on instead of pressing forward. If I delegate, then that is still tracked by Adobe Sign to say Edmund is no longer signing. It has now been delegated to Denise or whoever else. Right. Normally you would just click the button, but because I'm signed in, I'm just going to copy this link and go to a different browser. Please note, I am now the signer. I do not need to have a license to sign. All right, let's just do this. Right, so I can now click to sign. Oh, sorry, click to sign. You can set up the method that they can sign. Can they sign with their name? Do they need to draw their signature? Must they upload an image, or must they use their mobile phone? I can go in here, find my Ghana country code, put in my cell phone number, draw my signature on my phone, and it will then push it through to the application, because I will receive this screen here, and I can then sign on my phone. Okay, once I have signed, I need to just put here Adobe Specialist. I need to attach a document. So let's do that quickly. All right, it's just uploading. And I'm asking them to consent to sign electronically. This is an additional step I have on mine that I can appear in the audit report. Once that is done, whether I'm in Teams, if I'm in SharePoint, the document would then go to SharePoint if I need to, but I can then come here under completed, and I can then download the PDF and the audit report. In procurement, because most of you were under that section, if I submit more than one document for signature, the solution does allow you to be able to download those documents individually. So if I had 5 invoices, I could do that. And I can also download the attachment separately if I need to do that. Right, I'm just going to quickly open them up just to show you the authentication. And this one. Right. So here is the document I've just signed. All right. There was an attachment. If I look a bit further, there is the attachment I have included. If I click on the signature, it will take me through to the Adobe site and it will validate the signature based on the transaction ID. So each document will have their own transaction identity. If I click on the signature panel, you will see here, it will tell me no changes are allowed. All right. It will also tell me that it is a valid certified document. So here is that blue ribbon that tells me that the document has not been tampered with. If I do not see this ribbon, then I know that this is not a valid signature. All right. And I can see here that the signer's identity is valid. And of course, there is the audit report with the transaction ID telling me who signed, when they signed, was it delegated onto somebody else. Here I can see they actually uploaded a document. Right, so what are the benefits to you and your organization? Right, the benefits are that you can create, edit, sign a document in any Microsoft application if you're using Microsoft. All right, your documents have, sorry, your customers have access to sign anywhere on any device, so you're not limited just to a laptop. You, the company, get to see exactly where that document is in the signing process. Think about it if it was paper. You have to wonder, okay, is by this person or this person, is it stuck on their desk? You can remind them at any time. You do have the ability, if it's longer forms, you can download the information and either map it to SharePoint or receive it in a CSV file and then use it internally as you need to. So they are going to eliminate data errors. And it's a globally compliant solution. Right. And the value is you can accelerate the time that it takes for you to sign off documents. All right. Your business can still continue for those people that are being remote. Right. There is both customer and employee satisfaction because you saw how easy the solution is to be able to use or to sign, and you have visibility of where that document is at any particular point in time, and you can increase your return on investment on the Microsoft products that you have used. So there is an option to take a proof of concept, right? So you can reach out to Denise. I'm going to put her details here on the screen, or just reach out to whoever your person is at Multi-Thread and know that you can reach out to them about product information, have a customized demonstration for whatever your use case is. They can organize that, a proof of concept, and what the various licensing options are. So on that note, I'm going to reach out to I'm going to stop sharing and let us be able to see what questions there are in the chat pod, if there are any right now. So there is a chat box that you can add your questions into, or you can put them into the, there is another pod as well. Andrea, are there any, can you see any further questions?
No, Carla, no questions at the
Not
moment.
just yet. Okay, no, that's fine. It's just after yesterday where I couldn't see it. I just wanted to make sure that I could see all of those. Okay, so if there aren't any, I don't see anybody typing there. I'm going to hand back over to you, Edmund, and you could s- close off or say whatever you would like to say. I'm finished with my demonstration now. Oh, wait, there is a question. Hold on, there is a question. Okay, so Richmond is asking, do you license on all your multiple devices in order to sign documents? So Richmond, just to reiterate, only the people that are asking for a signature need to have a license. So if I wanted a signature from you, I would need to have the license and I would initiate the signing process. All right. If I am sending it out to 10 people to sign, those 10 people do not need to have a license. And relating to device, there are multiple ways to license the product. One is named user, so you could have it per user. That does come with some restrictions because if the users use the number of transactions that come with that license, it is not so easy to top up. So that is why the majority of customers opt for transactional licensing instead, because you as the company can determine how many envelopes, let's call it that, you need in a year. And then let's say, for example, you go into the process, you have your subscription, you go through, and it's 6 months in there and you've used up all those envelopes. It's easy for you to top up and you can determine, okay, in the next 6 months, we may only need this amount or we might need more. So if it's closer to your renewal date, you might want to have less. If it's at the start of your agreement with Adobe, then you might want to adapt it. So transactional licensing is a lot more flexible because you can allocate those transactions to one person, to everybody in your organization. It all depends on how you want to roll it out. Whereas named user is locked just to that particular user, and they have a limited number of transactions that they can use. So I hope that answered your question. And by the way, named user or transactional is available for both business version and the enterprise version. Okay, right. So let me hand over to Richmond now.
Thank
Sorry,
you very
Edmund.
much, Carla. And I believe we all agree this has been a very wonderful presentation. And Carla, thank you very much for the presentation. And for most of our clients and colleagues within this community on the call, I know that it's been a lot. For most of us, we have seen Adobe on a very minimalized kind of function, but the exposure has now brought to bear lots of other use cases that we could use Adobe for. And the good thing, because it's a Microsoft community and we are trying to help you harness the full benefit of your 365 and your other Microsoft systems, I think that it's heartwarming for you to now know that the deep integration Adobe offers, and again, you don't need to digitize and also let loose some of the necessary controls that we always advocate for. So you have the comfort to digitize and make things efficient, and also make sure that whatever signatures you are using within your workflows are secured. And one comfort I have always known, and it's also mentioned by Clara, is about data governance. So where you want the data to reside, the easy bit is the fact that it could be on the Adobe Cloud. But for all it's worth, if your data governance strategy needs you to put it on your SharePoint, so be it. Even if it needs to be on-prem, there could be that hybrid, and I'm sure that with our engineers will be able to help you do those integration. And it also keynote is about the audit trail. So bringing it home, we are able to digitize, we are able to make sure that if we need to imbibe signatures within the workflow, we do that securely, and it does not take out any critical thing from our digitization strategy. I just want to add that as part of your Microsoft 365 package, we all are aware that the SharePoint, the Power Apps, the Power Automate, the Power BI all together are huge development platforms, which we've done several apps. And Carl was talking about a leave form, and some of you are already using our leave app and all that. If we need to add signatures integrated, we can easily do that, which gives you that same feel in terms of your processes. And finally, for some of the government agencies that need to always have signature, whether it is your memo or whatever, we could still integrate these signatures into the e-memos if you would like, which would fast track most of your workflows. So thank you so much. It's been a good audience, and I think we should all applaud ourselves for that. I know it's a lot. We're going to also share the videos with you, and feel free for us to continue these conversations. And we'll be happy to bring in Carla and a lot more engineers on the Adobe side to help with your own basic needs. So I'll hand over to Andrea, then she can close us. And I think it's been a wonderful time with you.
Thank you, Edmund. And I just want to let everybody know that a recording of the session will be made available shortly. I just want to say thank you to Carla for that very informative and enriching demonstration on Adobe Acrobat Sign and integrations. And I want to say thank you to everyone at Multi-Thread Solutions for the opportunity to host this webinar with you. And then finally, a big thank you to all of our guests who joined us for this virtual event. We wish you a pleasant afternoon. Goodbye.